Yep, we're good. All right. So Al, we're gonna give it like 5 more minutes because I just sent it out to the club. Right, Griff?
What's that, Ash?
You want to give it a few more minutes for?
Yeah, so I should send them the link that you sent out, right?
Yeah, send that link. We're on now, and I know people are trying to get on now, so just 5 minutes would be great.
Maddie is excited. She's at a loss for words.
Awesome.
No expression.
Awesome. Al, I don't know if you heard me. We're gonna give it like 5 minutes because we're sending out this new link to people. Okay.
Yep, send it out now.
Okay. Perfect. Al, you still there?
Okay.
All right, they're starting to come on, Al. We just had to send that link out.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks for your patience.
Oh no, it's my fault this all happened, so it's fine.
No, it's good. What's the weather like there right now?
Well, it's been so nice. So usually like all my meetings I like sit outside and do everything, but it's a little cold right now. So I might go inside. But it's like 60s, and when it's sunny, it's so warm, and then if the sun's not out, it's like cold. It's like 50, well, probably not cold, but cold for here, like 40s, 50s.
Gotcha.
Where are you right now? Maryland?
Yeah, Maryland.
Cool. How's the weather?
It's gross right now. It's like gray, stormy a little bit.
Is everyone like safe in your fam? Like everyone's good? Has Maryland been hit like that bad, or it's pretty okay?
It's been hit, but not, of course, not like New York.
Yeah, Long Island was crazy.
Yeah, so your brother was sick, right?
Yeah, but yeah, it was weird because my aunt's a nurse, so he was able to like get tested, but like he had like he had a little bit of fever, he had like really bad like body aches, like felt like he got hit by a truck, but then didn't have like anything else, like didn't have a cough, nothing, and he just said he like lost his taste and smell, and that was like it lasted for like 10 days, and then it was fine.
Thank God. The rest of your family's pretty safe.
And his girlfriend too, they both had it.
Oh my gosh, they were shacked up together sick? Oh my gosh.
It's a different one, Mom, and there's only like 8 people in it. I'm gonna text.
Hi, Reese. I love how it says like everyone's name, even though that's probably not their name, probably their mom's or.
That's Reese. That's definitely Reese.
Oh, you have your own phone? Oh my God. I'm just kidding. You probably all have your own phones now.
They're
trying to get my puppies on here. They're not puppies anymore. Come here, Cassie. Come here. Come here, Shay.
By the time you send it, it's going to be over.
Come on, say hi.
What are you guys doing with the rain right now? How are they keeping you guys connected?
Well, it's so annoying. The league just made a rule that we can't use team facilities. So, like, normally we would go in by 2s because it's a league rule. You can't be in groups of, like, or I think now you can be in 3s. And if you live with someone, that person, and you were, like, count as 1. So, like, roommates would go or whatever. But it was so nice because no one used our stadium. No public. So it's so easy. We could just like know who's in, know who cleaned it, know who is out, can like pretty much like we're just able, but they just shut everything
Just
like
send it, Bev. You're
down, and
thinking
now we have
too
to
much.
go find like public goals, but like we're at public like places playing, which like sucks because that, and I don't know, just like more risk. I don't know, it's weird. It's weird they did that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so but they give us like running programs and like lifting stuff, which we can't use the gym either, so now like I guess we can't lift. I don't know.
Yeah,
And this
that's
just happened recently, so I'm like I just like ordered some weights. I had like 2 25-pound dumbbells and they're a little too heavy, so I'm like, all right, I'll get like a barbell and like some other stuff.
oh, that's funny. Gosh.
Yeah.
What they're projecting that you guys start in like May, right?
Preseason would start May, and then June would be like the start of the season. But I heard that it might be like, I don't know. It just depends on how everything like clears up. But I heard it might be like the end of June we start. So are we really gonna do preseason for a month and a half? I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha. Interesting. All right, now people are coming out. We'll give it a few more minutes.
Hey, girlies. Ashlyn, Giuliano, if I pronounce your name, sorry. Maya, hello.
Some of
Going
them.
back to you. Where you at? Oh, there you are.
What about Zoom? Are you guys doing like Zoom meetings with?
So with the national team, so like I went players with the team, but like I'm still with the team. It's like kind of weird. The coach just didn't pick me for that tournament, or she leaves. So we have like some other app that we use called like GoTo. It's basically Zoom, but he like does. I guess US Soccer uses that specific app, so that's what we use. So he's hosting like tactical meetings. And then we got a new, so my club coach here got the US Women's National Team job. So we got a new coach on my team.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's really good, and it's bad because he's like, he like treats me like he's like so like hard on me, like not like a daughter, because he's not like that. More like I don't know how to explain it. Like your little, I don't know. Picture one of your little players that you. But like he just is so hard on me. Anyways, so he's the coach. We got a new coach from France, and he like speaks English, but like not really. And he literally was here for 3 days, and this happened. So we have no idea. So he doesn't even know how to like work. Like he's just we have no idea what. We have like an assistant that will send us programs and stuff, but like and tactical stuff, but we haven't done anything with my club team, which is like sucks. Hopefully we will soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
You guys hear me okay?
I hope so. All right, Al. So I'm gonna actually get started for kind of like by just kind of they all know who you are, but I'm gonna run through kind of your bio a little bit, and then I'll ask you some questions, and then we'll do some player questions.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, make sure you're on mute. Lots of interruptions, so make sure when you get on, you're on mute. Okay. Like right now, you can hear somebody. Make sure you're on mute.
Yeah, girlies, make sure you're on mute.
All right, so quick little intro. You guys all know who Allie Long is. Currently plays for Seattle Reign and the U.S. Women's National Team. So she made her debut with the national team in 2014.
When was it? Oh yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know Allie from Penn State. She was there in 2005 to 2006. She was my roommate freshman year. We had a ball. Then 2007 and 2008, she transferred and went to UNC Chapel Hill, where she won a national championship in 2008. Professionally, she played for the Washington Spirit, Sky Blue, Paris Saint-Germain, New York Fury, Portland Thorns. That was your longest.
Yeah, my longest club.
Okay. And you won an NWSL championship there, right, Al?
Yeah, we won 2 there, and then I was there for 5 years. So I actually asked for a trade and they traded me to like their rivals, which is crazy. So it's so fun every time we play.
Okay. So and now she's at Seattle. So I guess the first thing, Al, that I was just going to ask you is just to tell us a little bit about your youth pathway, like how you ended up where you are now.
Wait, can I just say a side note that my club
Yeah.
team used to play Ash's club
She's
team
good.
growing up. Like we used to play against each other, and she was on Bethesda, and they were so good. They like had everybody, and they would always beat us, and they were so good. So that's a side note of my club.
Thanks for that, Al.
Yeah, they were always so good. So I always played against Ash, and then when I was at Penn State, we were roommates. I was like, oh my God, she's on Bethesda. That team was so good.
We were fast friends though.
Yeah, we were. It was good. We had a good balance of each other. I thought we like really complement each other. What was I gonna say? Oh, so my club team. So I basically was on my like local club team, Northport. I grew up in Northport on Long Island, so I played for them. And then I basically, once it started getting a little bit more competitive, I think I played up on Northport, but once it was starting to like travel soccer was like, I don't know, getting bigger. I don't know what you guys do now. You have DA, but that just got canceled. So I can't really like relate to that. But once it got serious, I switched to a more competitive team. And it wasn't really like the best team, but I think I had like the best environment and the best like coach to really help me grow and be like the best player. I think that would weigh more than your actual like winning when you're younger. I think that you learn so much as a club team, and I'm so thankful for my coach when I was younger to like teach me so much. So when I got to the next level of college that I was kind of like prepared for that in the sense of like just like tactically wise and like knowing the game. I think that that's really important like at your age. I actually remember like losing big games when I was younger, but I don't remember like they never mattered to my career in a sense. It was more like what I learned along the way and like the time I put in like away from the game, and then also like with my club team. So I just remember like loving training. I would always like have a ball with me, like either whether I was doing like extra or I'm just really competitive. I still am. So I just feel like I always just wanted to like play. I kind of like be challenged. I like to be challenged. So that was kind of my club team experience. And I think like when I was going through it, they would come to like tournaments, like showcase tournaments, and you would get like recruited like through that. I know. But yeah, that was how it went. And then a couple coaches wanted me, or teams wanted me, but it wasn't like, I would say like I wasn't a starter on my ODP team. Or no, I was a starter on my ODP team. I wasn't a starter on the regional team. And I maybe was like on one youth national team, like U14, and then didn't get called back into the national team program until I was my first year after Penn State. We went to the finals in it doesn't have our video, the College Cup, and then after that we lost, and I got like called up to my first youth camp from when I was like 13. She can't see.
I said she no showed it and that was the goalie.
Awesome. Hey guys, one more time, make sure you're on mute, okay? Make sure you're on mute. Awesome, Al. So next question I had for you was, you know, obviously whenever there's someone that's had a career like yours, it's had some longevity. So
What'd you say? Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
yeah, guys, put yourselves on mute, okay? Last time I'm
We
gonna
say
ask
mute or boot.
Mute. Hang on, Al. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I love that you keep that light. Let me start that again. So whenever there's someone that's had a career like yours, like the success and the longevity that you've had, certainly there's ups and downs. And you know,
a lot more downs than ups.
Yeah, and I kind of want to talk about that. You know, we had touch base through text through the years, and I really saw you claw your way in with like persistence and grit and hard work. And no doubt that you're one of the most talented in the country, let alone the world. But talk a little bit about what that took physically, emotionally, and mentally for you to work through those challenges.
Yeah, so I feel like it was weird. Like I was always like good enough to like be one of the best on my club team in the pro league, or I got drafted the first round, but like when it came to the national team, like I was always like right there. I was always like I'm on the team, but I might not be starting, or I'm on the team and like, ooh, like maybe they would pick someone else. So I feel like for a while, my first camp was like when I was I think my first camp was in 2010, but I got injured like the first camp. And so that was like such a huge goal of mine to make that team. And then when I got injured, it was like I literally like couldn't play. I had like a grade 2 MCL like sprain. It was really bad, and I couldn't like I couldn't play. And so I tried. I remember like one day I like tried, and I was like, what am I doing? I can't even like move. And then that was like so devastating. So from like 2010 to 2014, when I actually got called back in, like I wanted to make the team so bad, but I never even got like, I would like do really well in my league. I would like be one of the leading goal scorers from midfield, but like I just
What the heck is that?
didn't ever get called in. It like wouldn't happen for me. And that was like probably the hardest, like longest time of like just training for something and not knowing when the reward will come. So I think that that was really, really tough. And then because I wanted it so bad, I got called in 2014, leading up to the 2015 World Cup. It was like January camp of brand new year 2015, and like I just had the worst camp ever. Like it was so physically demanding, and I was definitely like prepared in that sense, but mentally like I felt like I wanted it so bad that like I would care about every little thing that happened. If the coach put me with the subs, if she put me with the starters, if I was playing with, like every decision that I was like questioning everything. And I felt like that's when I realized that like I was prepared, I was good enough, but the mental side of like just being able to like focus on what I'm doing at that moment and not worrying about everything else. I think that's when I realized I was like, okay, like I need to, like that can't happen again, because at the end of camp, Jill Ellis at the time was like brought me in and she's like, I'm sorry, like you're not in my plans. And I like knew it was coming because I just knew I wasn't playing like myself. I just felt it. And it was just frustrating, I guess. So, and it was really hard, really hard, because I cried pretty much the whole way home. I missed the 2015 World Cup, and I like basically like made a promise that I just would like be 100% prepared in every aspect, like mentally, physically, everything. So I worked with like a sports site coach. He works with guys in the EPL. He's really cool. He's on Twitter, and like I noticed him first from Twitter. And I just like really liked what he was saying, and I was like more curious. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, can we work together? We worked together. And then in 2016, they won the World Cup, and it changed the team from the World Cup team to the Olympic team. It's extremely hard to like burst into that roster. Like it doesn't happen because you're going from 23 players to 18 players. So I knew my odds were like basically impossible, but I like pretty much didn't care. I was like, I'm going to be so good that like literally like every game that the coach can't ignore me. And like, if she does, everyone will be questioning her. Like, that's what like my mentality was going into 2016, because that's when the Olympics were. And my husband's Brazilian, so like they were in Rio, and that was like such a huge goal of mine. Like already just being the Olympics, the fact that it was in Brazil was like so special to me. So I basically like did everything I can, got the fittest I could, technically worked on every aspect of like the game that I think that I needed to, and what also the coach was looking for on the team. And I was really like hyper focused about like very specific in what I needed to, where I received the ball on the field, and like what I needed to do with it. Like it was basically like breaking it down like very specific. And then I worked with a sports site coach, and then before I knew I had to have a good preseason in March 2016 if I ever wanted to make the roster in 2016, the Summer Olympics, because our only platform is the league, the NWSL. So like that's where the coaches watch you, and that's pretty much your best chance to make the national team. If you needed the coach to watch you, that's your platform. So before, like by the end of preseason, I guess the coach Jill Ellis reached out to my club coach and was like, you have to look at Allie. So before even the season started, I just got, by God's grace, I got called in, and I like killed it that camp. I was 100% ready, mentally, physically. I did so great. And fast forward, I ended up like starting and making the Olympic team. And I didn't even like make the 23 roster, but I was starting in the 18-man like Olympic roster. So in the games, and it was in Brazil, and it was so cool. And it was like such a special like moment. And like, yeah, that was like a high, but like it was like being able to persevere through everything else, because I honestly feel like that if I had to like redo that, or I wouldn't advise anyone to like be in the situation that I was in and be like, oh, it's going to be cool. Like you're going to make it, but it's going to take you this long and it's going to be like this. It was like horrible throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
And
but
like mentally tiring.
That's such a testament. So what you're saying is you weren't calling it just so that the kids get it again. You weren't calling it the 2015 World Cup. You worked your tail off, did what you needed to do, and then got called into the 2016 Olympics.
Yeah, and was starting in the game, like starting. So like I didn't even make the 23 roster, but I was like starting on the 18 roster. And so that was like the best thing ever. And this kind of, obviously this World Cup, the World Cup though is like the pinnacle of soccer. Like that's like your dream. That's what like inspired me to play in the first place, was seeing the 99ers win. So so then like in 2008 I was good. Like I was starting and playing. She like tried me at center back, like all this crazy stuff. I was good, and then I got injured in 2018 summer, and I literally was like, are you kidding me? Like I'm not gonna make this, because I had like a partially torn PCL. Someone tripped me from behind. It was like so dumb. And so I got injured, and then it took me to like February feeling good. So I didn't get called into camp in 2018, leading into 2019, even in like January camp, starting the year off. Like I wasn't in that in 2019. And I got called in April when she's making the roster in June. And I just literally was like, it was so crazy, because that camp I knew like where I needed to be at mentally because of what happened previously. Like I knew that if I was going to focus on other things, that the outcome was not going to be good. So the tools that I've used throughout my life, it kind of like came back into play, and it was able to, that process taught me a lot of making the Olympic team, where I was able to apply that again, and was named to the 2019 World Cup team. And I didn't play much, but I was just thankful to be on the team, because I was injured from 2018 until a couple months before she made the roster. So that was a bummer, but I was there, and that was like the dream, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing that you got yourself back in there. Talk a little bit about, so if you're comfortable with it, so you said you worked with a sports psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
What did he work on to kind of help you through that?
Well, I feel like a lot of sports psychologists will talk about like your visualization and preparation, and yes, that's all important, but like what happens when you're in the moment and you give the ball away? Like what's your mindset? What's your like frame of mind in that moment? And I think like my situation in 2014, that like led me to know that I just needed like something to fall back on when I wasn't like in the best state of mind. Or like not even that, just like if you make a mistake in a game, now you're thinking about the mistake, or like if a game matters so much, it's so easy to like want a win, or like a big game so badly that like you're not even focused like on anything else. You're just thinking about like, if we don't win, what happens, you know? So basically there's like it's really like kind of long to explain, but there's two things that like he says that are the most important thing that I agree is your body language and like your self-talk. So automatically just those two things, like if you have those things down packed, then like in the moments, like already just fixing your body language, like mentally, that has like a mental trigger that will like just all of a sudden like keep your head up, shoulders back, like that's a stance of confidence. And so that's like something that like automatically, like that was like something that like I would notice. I would always look at my feet, or like I don't even know what I was looking at, but like just like doing that, I'm like, all right, let's go. And then just like the self-talk, he basically wants you to pick a player or someone that you want to play like that. Mine was always like Busquets on Barcelona. So for example, it would be like 3 words that describe him that like you can envision that right away. So mine was like Busquets, and I can automatically get like a picture of like how he plays in my head. And then like some players like Griezmann works with this guy, and he has a cheetah is one of his words. So there's 3 words. So mine was dominant, focus, Busquets. So right away when I like say those 3 things, that's all that I need to like in the way he teaches it. Like those 3 things are the things that I need to be. And if I work on my like the mental side, if I'm like not focus on all the other things, then like I'm good. So when I think of dominant, focus, and Busquets, I automatically envision the player that like I want to be. So I would always like say those things like DF Busquets, we would say it, and like that's the player. And if I'm that player, then like everything else falls into place. And his thing is like, you can't force a performance, you can't force scoring goals. You could put yourself in the best situations, and to do that you have to have like a 10 out of 10 mentality, and that's like just being exactly who you are. And like it's very simple, but like it's what he does is like it's really good. But you should follow him on Twitter, and he gives like a lot of good tips. And
What's
his name is Dan Abrahams. He's done like a soccer. He's English, but he came to the U.S. to do at the convention, U.S. convention, I think, recently. So
That's
he's like
great.
getting a little bit more popular here.
Yeah, that's great. I could see how that brings you right back to where you need to be.
Yeah, like it depends on, and everyone's different. Like someone did like there's a guy in the EPL that uses like boys football, and I'm like, what does that mean? Like that word for him like mentally like brings him back to when he plays with his boys pickup, and he's like carefree, and he's like doing moves and having fun. Like that's his word to like bring him back to like not trying to play too simple or whatever, just being free and like caring about your performance but not forcing it.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, definitely going to see a sports psychologist and doing all that stuff is certainly part of like your own ownership of your.
Yeah, I think every
So-
footballer, you would be surprised, almost every footballer has working with someone currently, or like did something, because at the next level, it's that 1% margin of like making it or not could just be the mental side of like being nervous or not. If one person is not nervous and you're nervous, maybe you're gonna make more mistakes. So like that is just like everybody is I think using it. I think not everyone talks about it, which is like weird because I think it's like stupid. It's literally like helpful. But yeah.
So
I mean,
talk
like,
about,
taking
as part of that ownership aspect is also the self-training. So I know that every chance you get, you're going out and playing, especially I think, from what I've even read with your husband and pickup and with the guys in Long Island. So talk a little bit about like self-training and how that's evolved from you from a youth player to a college player to a professional player, and how important that is to be able to put the work in by yourself when no one's watching.
I think that's probably like one of the biggest keys, because you go to practice. I don't know how much your team practice. Do you guys practice like 2 times, or not now, but like normally? How many days a week do you guys train?
2 to 3 times a week, and then
A game on the weekend.
Yeah, and then our club runs like technical day. We did like 20 technical sessions this year.
Oh,
but
that's really good.
most of they do have time on their own to also be doing stuff.
For sure. So I think same, like my club team practice 2 to 3 times a week, game on the weekend. And like, if you think about that, every single player in the country probably is doing that. And there are so many people in the country in the same schedule that you're doing, 2-3 times a week, game on the weekend, maybe an extra session here or there. So what you do outside of that, especially when you're younger, is going to be the difference that when you get to the next level is when you'll see it. And you won't see it right now. And it's kind of something that like, hard work always pays off. I believe that. But a lot of times people want like a direct return of it, and sometimes it's like an investment that you just won't see until years later. It's like parents, explain what a 401k is. It's basically that. No, but it's like basically like that. Like I feel like that putting in the work when you're younger, like you might not see the difference in training right away or in a year or 2 years, but then all of a sudden you get to the college level, and you know, Ash, like you'll look around and be like, did this girl ever touch a ball before? Like, how is she here? And she's just fast or something. So like, and that's the sad truth, to be honest. And I think that just like, I've always found a way to do more. And when I was younger, it was always fun. Like I would always I remember like my mom would go out in the street in front of my house, and just like, she plays too, like still plays, but she played when I was younger. So she can like juggle and do stuff, but she would like play with me. And I think that, whether we were like passing one touches in the street under the street light, like see how many we can get. Like it was always like fun, and I always like loved it, and it was always really enjoyable. And then like when you get older, it goes into like more specifics. And I think that I'm so competitive, and a lot of like me doing self-training is like because like I want to be the best player that I can be, and you only get such like a short amount of time to like do so. And if I'm not starting on the national team, then like what do I need to do to start? I need to like there's certain goals that I know that I need to do technically, and so I literally will go out to a field and like perform exactly game like what I need to do in a game to be better. And some things are like just movement, off ball movement, and like how do you train that? Well, like literally like repetitive. How do I get the ball more as a center midfielder? Is that off ball movement? That's something that I'm like working on now, and it's just maybe 3 steps, and then I check to the ball, or it's like checking my shoulder more, and these little things. Like there's so many details in the game of soccer that like you need to. It's really hard to like, and can be overwhelming to train everything at once. But if you narrow it down, and I think at your guys' age, you know, pick like 2 things. I think you guys should always be working on your weak foot so that there's no such thing as a weak foot when you get older. And be able to play on both feet. So if you're not, like that should be your first goal. And I think like little things like that, like set little mini goals for yourself that will continue to like help pay off in the long run, and be specific about it also. I think like I wasn't as specific when I was younger, but maybe I could have been a little bit more. Maybe I wouldn't, I don't know, but now I'm very specific. So it's changed, and the timing, I have a lot more responsibility now, like, but I think that I always like manage to find a little way to do extra, even if it's at a wall. Like I have a wall right here. I wrote down my goals in chalk, but I have a wall here, and like
awesome.
I actually literally have like, wait, where is it? Hold on. Oh, a mannequin, you can't really see. But like I literally like, and a ball over there. Where is it? Come on.
Oh, nice, Al.
Yeah. So like I literally like just do little stuff at the wall, and sometimes like if I'm tired, like this week my trainer says it's like an off week, so I'm playing like a light pickup game today, so maybe I won't do this stuff this week, just to like make sure that I'm being a professional, and like recovery is very key when you get older to the longevity of your career.
That's awesome. I like too that you mentioned the details, because we're always telling players that the difference between a good player and a great player is in those little details. So
Yeah.
I like that you talked about that.
Like no one told me to check my shoulder when I was younger.
Yeah,
and then like I got drafted to play pro, and like one of the coaches was like, check your shoulder, and I'm like, what? And they're like, check your shoulder, and I was just able to get away with it like growing up, that no one, I guess either, I don't know why no one really told me to like, or like I should, every time I get the ball, I should be check my shoulder. And you look at the pros, they're checking it. Like I always watch like whatever Barca player or whoever is on, and before a center midfielder, that's my position, checks ball, they're checking the shoulder 3, 4, 5 times.
Yep.
As the ball's coming, and that's really hard to like take your eye off the ball and then like receive it. So like I still work on that literally daily. Well, whenever I'm training, I'm always working on that, and that's something that like so small that makes such a big difference.
Love that. So we have some questions from some of the kids too, so I'm gonna kind of ask them some of what they're asking.
Let's do it.
So some of them want to, well, let's start with the one I had on text this morning from Trevor, because I really like that. Coach Trevor, actually, it's a coach, the very first one, wanted to know, what would you tell your 10-year-old self? If you could tell your 10-year-old self something right now, what would it be?
I think I would tell my 10, I was a little crazy 10-year-old. I was always like trying to play with like, I was always trying to play pickup, like hopping fences to play my neighbors.
But Al,
don't do that, guys. You'll get in trouble these days. No, if I could tell my 10-year-old self, I think I would say that never let a coach determine, never let what other people say, not even a coach, like have such an impact on you that it changes, that makes you doubt yourself. Like a coach told me when I was in high school, but it was my ODP coach. Which is like supposedly better than your club, like, you know, you're with the best players in your state. And he told me like I'll never make it as a pro as a center midfielder, and will never forget that, like, ever. And I think like I don't know why, but like I literally think I was just like born this way, where I like, if you say I can't do something, I'm gonna like try to like, that makes me so mad. Like I get mad thinking about him telling me that as a younger athlete. And I think like never let the impact of someone tell you what you can't do matter as much as like your passion and drive to do it, because someone could tell you you're not talented enough, you're not technical enough, but like in my opinion, that like it literally doesn't matter, because you're in control of what you want to make yourself out to be. And if I listened to him, maybe I would have maybe like, I remember like he tried to play me at center back. I actually did play center back with the national team, but that's not because of anything he said. I've been a midfielder like my whole life. But I just think that, yeah, he said that. And so I think never get too low on your lows. And if a coach cuts you, it's not the end of the world. You have so much time to like make any other team. Oh, I have one more thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter like what path you're on compared to anyone else. Like don't compare yourself to anyone else, because I think like you can lose confidence just by doubting yourself if you're not at someone's level at a certain age. And I know so many players, a girl on my team right now that went to a 2-year school, scored a bunch of goals, came in as a practice player on my pro team. Practice player was like, my coach tried to cut her, but we had so many injuries that we had to keep her. She ended up winning Rookie of the Year for our league and started games. So like, and she went to a school, I don't even know the name of it. It's like in Iowa somewhere, 2-year college. No one, not even Division 1, 2, or 3. I don't even think it's considered. And she literally made it to the pro league and was Rookie of the Year and started games. And she got called into the national team. Sorry. She got called into under 23 youth national team from having a really good season in the league. And I think that's why the NWSL is so important. And that's why we need players and parents to pay attention to it, because that's the best chance for anyone here to ever make the national team if they didn't make it like already, if that makes sense.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. I like those stories because I think oftentimes parents and players think that you're just like from a little age destined to make it. And you do have a few of those, but oftentimes, I mean, you know this, the kids that were in with the 16s, 17s, and 19s didn't necessarily make it to the full team at all. There's total.
Yeah, I remember like on our regional team, like I wasn't even a starter, and I remember the girls that were starting over me that I thought were so much better than me, like in my position. They didn't even make it after college. They didn't even play in the pro league, which is crazy to me because I literally remember sitting there being like, they're so good and I'm not. And it was like a coach's decision of just not playing me. And like I just kept going and they didn't, and that was like the difference. And that's all the difference was. So it could be just something so simple like that.
Yeah, that kind of leads into another question where one of our kids said, Joey Faraday, was there a moment in your career that pushed you to be great?
I think there's always going to be like a couple of things that I think there's one major thing that like will set something inside of you on fire, and then like little things along the way like continue to help that like fire burn, if that makes sense. And I think getting hurt in 2010, being in camp, I was in camp for 2 weeks with the national team, but I couldn't play because I was hurt, the story I said before. And being in that environment and like being around those players, putting on the training jersey and like just seeing like wearing that crest was like, it gave me the belief that 1, I could be there, and then 2, like this is exactly like what I felt like I was like born to do. Like I was in that environment and I was like, I love it here, like this is what I want. And like that's what drove me for the next 4 years until I got called back in. So I think that, and then once again, it's funny, like all the things that like I didn't achieve actually are the reasons that made me dig deeper. And it was when I got cut from the team in 2015, not making the World Cup team, and like watching the team win, that was like literally like the hardest thing in my entire life. Wanting to be there so bad and like not being able to be there, or not being there. Yeah, so those are the 2 major ones I would say.
Yeah, I think that's huge for any of the kids listening, because that's just a testament to resiliency. And I mean, not a lot of people, not everyone has that. It's amazing that you were able to bounce back from that and kind of say, no, I'm going to go get this.
Yeah, and a lot of times you don't even feel it. Like some days I wake up and I'm like, it's not even about like being motivated. It's like the discipline to do it when you like almost like don't really feel like doing it at times. And I think that's really important, because you don't have to feel like every day you're waking up, I want to go train on my own. Like, no, that's not going to happen. But it's more about like the habits that you build, and like being disciplined to do it is the difference than like feeling like, oh yes, I'm going to train today. Because like there's some days where I'm like tired and I just don't want to, but I'm like, all right, I need to do a little bit. Let me do this. So I think that's really important too.
That's awesome. So another question, we have, hang on one second. Did you have a favorite soccer player when you were young, and did you play other sports?
Great questions. Yeah, I loved Mia Hamm. I still love her. She hasn't played in years, but she's still my favorite ever. I don't know, just watching her was like so inspiring to me. And then yes, I played a bunch of sports. I played like lacrosse, basketball, volleyball. Like I think I played like almost everything. And then once it got to a point where like I had to pick because practice was messing things up, or I had to pick like because they were both at the same time, I would always pick soccer. But I enjoyed playing all sport, like any of the sports I could, I guess.
Awesome. Okay. This one's funny. I don't know if Allie's going to answer it. Why do they call you What's Up with Harry?
That's just a name that like Tobin called me and I called her one day. It started because she can't, well, we both can't do two things at once, so we'll like space out a little bit. And like she was driving one time and she was trying to have a conversation and I was trying to have a conversation. She would ask me a question, I was talking, and then all of a sudden like 5 minutes later she would answer my question and then I answered her. Like we were like what are we doing, we're like what? And so we said like that was like she was being a Harry, like if she wasn't answering me or like paying attention. And then she was like, you're being a Harry. So then we're both Harrys. It's just like when we're not paying attention to each other and we're focused on like something else. It's a long, stupid story.
I love it. I love it. That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah. Like,
it.
stop being a Harry.
Yeah. So Reese wants to know, do you have a favorite move that you like to use? And also, what is your juggling record?
Ooh. So this is kind of weird. I used to not like, I feel like I haven't like counted my juggling in a really long time, but I used to, where I grew up, like around my block, it was a half a mile. So I would always try to go further, and like I always wanted to like juggle for 1 mile. So like I remember like I juggled consistently for like I literally juggled like around my block twice, and that was like always my goal. So I'd like mark it off, like I remember where I got the last time and like always try to like beat that. But like I said, I can't do two things at once, so I couldn't count probably while I was like seeing where I was at. But I mean, yeah, I don't know the exact number. And then what was the other question?
I think it was, what do you have a favorite move that you
move? Oh, I'm so simple. Like I feel like I call it the Iniesta, but you basically just, it's like a bell. I can't like I'll show you right now. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You got a ball?
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's so basic, but he does it every time. So hold on.
They're the best. Basic ones are the best.
Let's see. How do I flip this camera? Oh, there we go. So basically, here you are, girlies. Okay, so you're dribbling. Oh, hold on. Let's pretend this is the defender. Okay, so you're dribbling, right? Left foot. Oh, I can't watch it. This. Okay. As you get to the defender, you just go whoop, whoop, and you're out. Get it? So Iniesta, if you watch Andres Iniesta play, his move every time he does it, he just goes like whoop, every time. So that's all I do.
Love it. That's awesome.
It works every time.
This is awesome. Kids even get a move of the day.
Hold on, let me see. Where's my? Okay, there we go.
Awesome.
Hi guys.
Oh, I love it. All right, next one. Let's see. Okay, so this is from a coach, one of our coaches, really good coach, Mike V. Do you believe in the following game quote? If you didn't make mistakes, you didn't try hard enough. And is that something you lived by?
Yeah, so I feel like now that we have so many stats, like I'm like crazy about possession. Like I pride myself on always keeping the ball and like always having the highest percentage like in the league. Like I've always wanted that or always like strive that. Cause like as a holding midfielder and a midfielder, half of your job is just like, you know, keeping the ball, keeping it moving. And then I noticed that I was like almost like my coaches were saying I was like playing too simple. And I realized that like I didn't want to like making mistakes. I just wanted to like keep the ball. So I wasn't like trying different balls. So I think that making mistakes is like so important actually. And trying things. And I think that as you get older, your mistakes get punished. So you have to be like more intelligent about it, obviously. So, but yes, I definitely believe that. And I caught myself almost like not doing that. And then like I was getting in trouble from like my coaches, or that was actually the reason why I wasn't, like starting on the national team, like with this coach. He my coach right now, he wants me to like be more aggressive and more assertive going forward, and that requires to actually like do that. And if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. So yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Let's see another one here.
But not stupid mistakes. Like you don't want to dribble 10 people in front of your own goal.
Yeah.
You have to be intelligent about it.
I like that. Oh, here's one from Tom Ruzzi, one of our other really good coaches. Best player you played with and against? Well, of course it's me, Tom. Best player.
Let's see. Best player I played with all around. Okay, there's a tie. So I always love playing with like really intelligent, like smart players. And I think that on my team in Seattle, like one of the reasons I wanted to come here was the coach, but now he just left to the national team. But the second reason was some of the players. And I've always wanted to play with this girl on my team, Jess Fishlock. She is from Wales. And I think that she is probably like one of the most intelligent players. And people might not notice that all the time, but she could be one of the best. Her and Lauren Holiday, I would say, were like whatever, probably like the best. But then there's Pino, who just like creates. I've never experienced it. When she's on, it's just like everything she touches is just amazing. So she's always creating something, whether she's creating a cross, a shot, someone setting, like always something. When she's on, she's like top level. But I always like the players that I like playing with are always like center midfielders that I can like combine with and stuff. And then against, probably someone on France, either, I guess, I don't know, maybe Amadine Henry, because she's really good on the ball, but she's very like strong and athletic. So I think probably her, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So who's your best friend on the team?
I feel like I have a couple, but I would say like probably Kelly O'Hara and Alex Morgan, and there's a couple. Like always Tobin Heath. I think because me, Alex, and Kelly, we started like our USA Beat Everybody sweatshirt company. We've had to like just talk more and be business and friends. So like we've been like around each other so much, which has like been great. And we're already like best friends before that, but now we're just like spending so much like more time and arguing too. But that's what friends do.
Nice. Do you have a most memorable goal scored?
Yeah, probably my first goal with the U.S. Women's National Team, just because it was my first camp in after not making 2015, I got called in April in 2016. I started the game and I scored 2 goals. And those goals, that game, I just will never forget because it was like crazy that I like was crying a couple months ago, and then I'm like crying tears of joy after like that after I scored. So probably that game.
That's awesome. Where were you and who were you playing? Do you know?
It was in Connecticut, at UConn's football field, and we played Columbia, and I scored 2 headers.
Nice. Nice. Ruby wants to know if you get recognized in public.
Yeah, I think it varies like state to state, honestly. Like, and I think like in my hometown, obviously in Northport, yes. In Seattle, not like as much. But like, oh yeah, it depends, like state to state and like where we are. If there's like a game coming up, especially like national team stuff. So it depends.
Nice. I don't know if you'll remember this, just a few more, Al, thanks.
Sure.
Jack Faraday wants to know if you can remember what the highest number of goals scored in a match is for you.
For me,
Yeah.
like personally,
Yeah.
when I was younger, I definitely like when I was like in club, I remember scoring like a hat trick or 4 or something, but not like, or in high school, but I've never scored a hat trick in my professional like career. And I've always like, I've had 2 games, 2 goals a game a couple times. And I've been so close to like scoring 3, or I should have scored 3 and I would have had a hat trick, but I've never scored a hat trick like from professional on. So I don't count it really, but it matters.
Yeah, 2 goals in a pro match is pretty crazy, Al.
Thanks, Ash.
What else do we have here? That's a funny one. Are you competitive?
Yes, I'm very competitive in like everything. Like we're playing pickup and we like rotate teams right now, and we have all the W's and L's. All the guys and me have all the W's and L's, and we like it like we're serious about like our pickups in extra off season right now. Yes, I'm very competitive.
Okay. High school soccer. Somebody's asking, did you play on your high school team?
Yes, but it wasn't like I know my high school soccer season was in the fall. Do you guys do it in the spring? I feel
We do it in the fall here.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, I think I did in the fall and I played and it wasn't like a big deal, but I know like there's always like controversy like now about it. So it's different, I guess.
Nice. Let's do a couple more. How old were you when you started playing?
I was like 3 or 4. My mom said I was 3, but like I don't remember. So I guess 3 or 4.
Okay. And then futsal. We got some questions about that because there's this huge push with futsal.
Yeah.
Have you played futsal? Has it helped your outdoor game?
So I think that a lot of times futsal will get like a bad rep, like, oh, like it's small sided and it's not realistic. But what I think it actually does help, which is in every aspect of the game, is your quickness and decision making, your footwork, and being able to solve 2v2, 3v3, 2v1 situations. Those are what you see in the game every single time. And I think that people will say it's not realistic and might not agree with it. But I think that I played futsal with men in like Queens in all these like crazy Spanish leagues. And I think that is like the one thing that has helped me separate myself from every other player, because no one else does that. Like on the national team or in my league, they just don't have access to it, I guess. And I just do because my husband. But I think futsal's awesome. I think that like when I was going from 2015 to 2016, I was playing like 5 games a week, but I would always do like big game stuff too. So I'd work technically on long balls and finishing from long range, but I was always playing games for like the mental side of it, to like play quicker, see things quicker, solve things. I think it's the best for like your cognitive side of the game.
Nice. Okay. And then Coach Skeeter wants to know if you had 3 athletes that you idolized growing up, no matter male or female, and like who you looked up to and why.
Yes, Michael Jordan. So basic, I guess. Michael Jordan and Mia Hamm were like my 2 favorite. My grandpa like brought over like a video of like North Carolina, like of Mia Hamm like killing it at UNC, and then just like Jordan was in it for some reason, and I was like, oh my God, these guys are the best at what they do, and they just like inspired me to kind of like want to be like that. And then Kobe Bryant taught, like I remember like always looking up to him and like reading about him and like so curious about like what he did, because he was always so big on like doing more and doing extra, and I feel like I relate so much to him, and like especially like after reading his book and like all he does like with like his show, or he did, sorry, with like the detail and like everything like that. Like I think how he sees basketball is like I relate to him so much. So like I would say those 3. And it's weird, they're basketball players, but just like what they did to be the best at what their craft has inspired and motivated me to use that in my sport.
Nice. All right. So last 2 questions here were, do you get nervous before and during games? And separate question, but I'll just ask it now, is how did you get more aggressive? How did you become more aggressive?
I think being more aggressive is a part of the game that obviously is really important. My dad played rugby, so like before my games he would like, he doesn't, still to this day, he doesn't know much about soccer. He just like knows goal scoring, and like that's it, and like tackling.
Yeah.
So before I would always go to the game, he would just always tell me to like, I remember him like giving me advice or watching, if there's ever like a 50-50, he would always just like encourage me like that I had to win that. Like that was like my like duel. So like that, but then I think as you get older, like if you're not aggressive and you're not like winning balls, then you're going to get passed on for another player, because you need to be able to win the ball back for your team. And I think just like knowing that is going to automatically make you more aggressive, because and I also am very competitive. So I look at it like if there's one ball and it's me or you, like I'll do anything to get the ball. And some people may not view it like that, and that's fine. But I think when you get older, you'll realize if you're not aggressive and you're not winning the ball back for your team, then the coach will look for someone else who can. So I think that's something you need to add to your game.
Awesome.
And I don't think you need to do that like right away when you're younger, maybe, or maybe you do, or you could practice on it now. But I think it's a huge aspect when you get older. Winning the ball back is half the game.
Nice. So I'm getting harassed on this chat, Al. I don't know if you can see the chat, but I'm getting harassed with, what was it like playing with Ashley? Give us a terrible story of her in college. Don't give any terrible stories, because I don't think they're age appropriate.
No, they're not age appropriate, but I just remember Ash being like so technically good and like so good in front of goal, and just like being someone, really good back to goal also. Like I remember she like just being able to like lay the ball off, spin, and like get in the box, and like just being like a class finisher. Like I think she was always just like a true like 9, like a good forward, and really good forward, and I wish that she still played.
Oh, thanks, Al. That's good. And look how respectful. She's not giving you guys any dirt on college.
I
All you
won't
male
tell you
folks
any
asking about
secret stories. Those are between me and Ash. But let me just say, she's funny and really fun and a great student, and we had a great time.
Lots of 50 Cent, Missy Elliott.
Yes, 50 Cent, Missy Elliott.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's last one out. I don't know if you can do this, but we're getting somebody asking you to juggle like 20 times in a row on this chat. Can you show them a quick little juggle?
Let's see, girlies. not my other girlies. Okay, hold on.
And some boys. You got plenty of boys on here.
Oh no, sorry. I was talking to my doggy girlies. They're like, when I say girlies, they like pop their head up. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna do. It's gonna be hard to record this and do it. Hold on. Buddy. Okay, hold on.
That's her husband.
Okay, hold on. I can't record it and do it. 1, 2, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 21. There you go, girls. I think that was 20.
Yeah. Nice. All right, Coach Griff, are you on here?
I'm here.
Awesome. Anything you want to say or ask before you go? Allie, this is, if I didn't give you a proper introduction, this is our Director of Coaching, Mike Griffith.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Allie. Hey, I just wanted to ask about the team last year in France. And what do you think was, the thing that brought you all together and got you over the hump to win the whole thing?
I think it's just knowing that we need every single player on the team, and like knowing that like the player next to you is going to help this team win a World Cup automatically like makes your bond with them even stronger. Also, like going through the process of making the roster is one of the most not horrible, it's like just so agonizing because everybody just wants the final roster named, and so it's very competitive and it's very intense before, but then once the roster is named, it's like, all right, this is like who we're going to go to battle with, and I need this player. I don't care if you're starting over me. I don't care if you're like, I don't care anything about anything else besides like making this player the best player that she can be, hyping her up. Like I need Pinot, for example, to like go off on every single game. So how can I help her be the best? Whether that's and I think that's kind of like, that was like just the mentality of like every single player. And also just like a lot of our team has been friends for a really long time throughout the years, and we've just it's been such like a blessing, the fact that like we all are on the same team even though we like crossed paths years ago. So I think just like coming together as a team was just knowing like you need every single player on your roster for a tournament like that. There's 7 games in 3 weeks, is it? I don't even know, 4 weeks, and it's a lot. The amount of physical, like the physical aspect of it alone is a lot. Just that. So like knowing everyone needs each other is kind of like a huge thing that like really brought us together, I think.
That's
and
awesome.
like, yeah, and I think just like stuff off field, like fighting for equal pay, and just like we have just like such a high respect for one another and like what everyone stands for, that it creates like a great bond for one another.
Allie, I did have just one question that came in from a soccer dad. He wanted to know if you enjoy Taco Bell at 2 a.m.
I am not gonna lie, I have had some Doritos Locos Tacos. I will say those are very good. I haven't in a long time, but I do enjoy a Doritos Locos Taco.
Awesome.
They're really good.
Love it. So I think with that, Al, we've been on for like an hour. I can't thank you enough for your time.
Of course.
And I know you inspire kids all over the world. So we're
Thanks.
super grateful to have you here with us today.
Of course. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Your questions were great. Listen to Ash. She is great. I've seen her trainings. I've watched everything that she's done and followed her. And I think she's someone that will help your career for sure. You always want a coach that cares about, like, is passionate about not just like the game, but like actually your development. And I see that in Ash so much. So I think you guys are in really good hands. You guys are really lucky. And thanks for joining in.
Thanks, Al.
You're welcome.
Stay safe.
Okay, you too. Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, girlies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Welcome. Bye.
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 Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.